begun.
Thank you. 3 minutes, and I will make 3 points. The first point I'm going to make tonight is that it will require a cultural change at all levels to make a stakeholder corporation, and this change is far away. Short-termism, which Paddy was talking about, the pressure to deliver quick results, has become an entrenched feature of the UK business environment. But ironically, this quarterly reporting or financial results culture is imposed on companies and managers by EU and domestic legislation and regulation. Indeed, in 2009, we've seen shorting of the market as a regulation. Causes of short-termism are varied, but they are entrenched in the way the equity market now operates. The second point relates to the same issue of to do with cultural change, which is shareholder supremacy is enshrined in UK law. And US corporate law, for example, does not impose any enforceable legal duty on corporate directors to maximize profits. This is not the case in the UK, especially not after the UK Companies Act 2006, which talks about the duty to promote the success of the company for the benefit of its member as a whole. There is no doubt in my mind that we've gone actually one step backwards. So it's not enlightened shareholder value, it's shareholder exclusively, rather than anything else. The last point in relation to this issue is that social responsibility is not a new idea. We've been talking about these ideas, since the early 30s of the last century. Burley and Dodd asked the question, from whom are corporate managers trustees? And they grappled with the issue of a sense of social responsibility, the issue of conscience, and so on and so forth. So in other words, there's nothing new in this debate. The second point, and I've got, 1 minute and a half? Second point is, in this debate, we're talking about shareholder value, and my question is, which shareholders are we talking about? Are we talking about, or using terminology from a bygone area? We know, or the debates, or the question ignores the fact that 40% of shares in the UK are held by foreign investors. That means that they've got very different incentives, very different ideas about how to engage with companies. There is shorter holding periods. The trading cultures, perhaps, or too much liquidity, has influenced the way shares are looked at. And of course there is, but I will leave it for you, Daniel. There's a long change of intermediaries between the ultimate beneficial interests to the company, which affects behavior, and that relates to how specific investments are structured. And my final point for tonight, and I'm going to be very quick on this, is that the real hard questions, or the real questions that we need to discuss and put on the table, again, relates to shareholders. When we talk about shareholder value, can and should we, and it's a normative question, rely on shareholders at all to monitor management of companies? We know that when things are going well, shareholders do not intervene. When things are going bad, as in the last few years, we have a lot of noise, we have a lot of media coverage, there is a lot of shareholder activity. But then when things are going to be okay or back to normal, shareholder activism will disappear. But this is exactly the time when they should be monitoring. Not before, not after the event. The second issue is that, is shareholder activism a good thing? If we think that shareholders getting involved in companies, where is the evidence to suggest that shareholder being or engaging with company leads to better governance and indeed results? And there is a lot of sort of mixed evidence on this issue. And the final point is that the concept of shareholder is as uniformly concerned with profit generation, perhaps should be looked at, because I think instead we need to ask, are real shareholder interests linked to both economic and non-economic goals? So things like socially and morally desirable corporate activities, because if this is the case, then maximizing shareholder value is not the same as maximizing shareholder profit. Thank you.
That's right. So.